What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. Harry Scarfe here again today for a preview. Tottenham versus Luton. Looking forward to this game. And I'm joined by an opposition fan in Oliver. Oliver, firstly, how are you doing? And secondly, talk to people a bit about what you do.
I'm Oliver. I run teams like Luton on 4 different social media platforms. I'm a massive Luton fan, and I'm excited today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining me. Looking forward to getting into it. If you're listening on YouTube, please do like and subscribe. If you're listening after on the podcast platform, please do drop us a follow and a 5-star review. So, Oliver, let's kick this preview off. Let's start with some general questions. How are you feeling about the new season?
I'm feeling quite positive. At the start, it was like we've just suffered back-to-back relegations, and some of the transfers weren't looking the most positive. We've got some experience in. However, over the last few days, we've got in a lot of good young talent in, as well as a large amount of experience. So I think most of the fans are now quite excited for the new season.
That's good to hear. Signs they do make a difference, don't they? They change how you feel about, generally the club, but also the season ahead. When you spoke about it being a couple of really tough years back to back at relegations, what lessons would you say that the team has learned from your season? One season in the Premier League, and obviously it's not a good thing overall going down. But what would you say you've learned? Maybe something to do different or positives to take out of that.
Ultimately, with Matt Bloomfield coming in January, it was almost like we just aimed to stay up. And obviously it didn't happen. But now that we're in League One, it's like a fresh new start. We just got rid of the deadwood, and now we just got our aim to go back up and just motivate the squad again. Like, not just be used to accepting defeat.
100%. That's a big thing. It's hard to do as well. I'll be down to the manager. Would you say that Premier League exposure for that single season changed the atmosphere around the club, like for better, for worse?
I think with more exposure to the media, we brought in more fans, and obviously with more exposure, you come across more like negatives across the media or just in person. So it's almost like the acceptance of that's where the club should be, and we should be pushing for that standard. But the idea of falling off the 2 divisions, it sort of hit the fan base quite hard, as imagined.
Indeed. So going into the new season, what are your hopes and expectations? Do you think you can get promoted?
I think everyone at the club's aim will be able to go back up. I think last season was just got to go down as a write-off now, and we shouldn't have been in the position that we were in. We had a large budget and we just didn't bring in the right players to fit the squad mentality. And ultimately, it just didn't seem like a Luton team.
Do you think that's that sole reason you went down, because of the recruitment was wrong?
I don't think it's the sole reason. I think in the Premier League, it was almost like we were expected to go down. So the fact of how well we did to bring it to the final day, admittedly, it had to be like a 14-goal swing against Fulham to stay up. But just to take it to the final day, it was brilliant. Like a once-in-a-lifetime experience for a club like us. Most of our fans have witnessed us in the conference. So to go from the conference to the Premier League in under 10 years, it's just wild. Then we sort of just got to the point of accepting defeat. And then that clearly just got brought over to the season after. A large change in tactics, and it led to around December, it just wasn't good enough. And then Rob Edwards' departure.
How do you look back on his time at the club? Obviously achieved so much, not the ending that he would have wanted or Luton Town fans would have wanted.
Luton fans will look at Rob Edwards as a god, pretty much, taking us to the Premier League. Genuinely, as hard as it is to see how rough it ended, that man will be he brought the best day of people's lives at Wembley that day that we got promoted.
A special time. You speak about your Premier League campaign. I thought you firstly done really well and were quite unlucky. Would you say that luck went against you? I'm thinking of examples that you were leading, weren't you? Was it at home against Liverpool? So nearly held on for all 3 points that I think you drew in the end. You had lots of situations I think you played us, for example, at Kenneth Road, where you won, where we won, 1-0, and you just couldn't quite get that equalised. There's a lot of moments like that, wasn't it, where you're really close? Was it come down to luck in the end that maybe wasn't on your side?
I think we played so well, but the three teams that went up that season in Burnley, us, and Sheffield United were nowhere near up to standard, and that's why we all got relegated in the end. I think luck was not on our side. We played you. I think that's one game that every Luton fan will look back on. Sarr getting sent off early doors, and it's we just didn't get the point. We went 1-0 up even away at your ground through to Heath Chong, and
he did.
Couldn't hold out with that. So there was many games like that, but ultimately defeats like losing to Bournemouth away after going 3-0 up at half time. Just quite frankly, it's the reason that we ended up going down.
I remember that. It's hard. Sometimes you've got to shut shop and find a way to get the points, but it's tough. It's easier said than done, and I thought you gave it a really good go. And that's what it was about, wasn't it, for you? It was about having a go, and I think you've done that. So, hey-ho. We'll move on to this campaign again. Who do you think will be a key player for you?
Well, we're missing a striker at the moment, as Elijah Adebayo is out injured. But we've brought in Naki Wells, who's a large name, Championship last 5 years, 10 plus goals for Bristol City. He's getting on the older side now, but just to have that experience on the bench. Lassie Nordas is another one to be looking at. We brought him in January from the Norwegian League. Didn't really have the best end to the Championship season, but not many of our players did. I think Keeley will be another one, just got from you.
Yeah.
One of the best goalkeepers in the league, and probably Mark McGuinness as well. I'd say best centre-back in League One at the minute for definite.
I'm going to ask you about Keeley in a minute. I'm going to get to that. Thank you. Are there any we speak about new signings, etc., but who are you most excited to see? I mean, it could be more than one. You're excited to see in action this season. It may be I'm thinking someone from the academy, a new signing, or it might just be someone that has been there a little while that you still want to see next season in League One.
New signing Jake Richards has looked really promising. Young lad from Exeter, 17 years old. So far in pre-season, he's looked like he can play top level in League One. And he started most of the games for Exeter last season, so I don't see why he can't come in and step it up for us. I think there's a few others as well. Melenik Ali, who we got from Exeter as well in January, scored 3 goals last season in the Championship when he came in, and they were all clutch goals. I think we'll be very lucky if we keep hold of him. And I'm giving him a shout for top goal scorer in League One already, to be honest.
Oh, bold shout. We'll come back to that. Fingers crossed for you that does happen for Phil's. Oliver, I'm going to ask you about Josh Keeley. How do you view that signing? I get the impression you're happy with it. Do you think it's a good bit of business from your club?
I think 1 million is an absolute steal. Well, he's proven in the league now with Leyton Orient last season. Obviously getting that goal in the FA Cup. A lot of Tottenham fans quite upset to let him go, I've seen, but he didn't have a push in your squad. You've got 3 top quality keepers now. I think it's a very good signing. Letting go of Jack Walton yesterday as well, who's gone to Preston on a permanent. He was rumoured to be starting after he came back from his loan at Dundee. And losing Thomas Kaminski to Charlton, Keeley's a very strong replacement, and I'm quite excited to see him this season.
Yeah, I think he'd get on really well for you. Well, for us, we signed him for 100 grand and we sold him for $1 million. So we have made a profit. Yeah. So the club look at it and go, okay, it makes sense. And I think they looked at it maybe and went, there's no clear pathway to the first team. It's to be a regular goalkeeper, which is a shame. I think there's nothing against Keeley. As you say, it's the fact that Vicario is a good keeper. Kinski, very good. I think arguably got the brightest future out of all of them. Austin, whenever he's stepped in, has done a good job. So we've got that kind of cover, which is a shame in a way. Do you think how long do you think he'll stay at Luton? Do you see him as like a long-term kind of keeper? Do you see him here for a couple of years and maybe you sell? Obviously, it's hard to say at this moment in time, but do you see him as like a player to raise your value and cash in on? Or?
The whole Luton aim is always to raise value on players. We'll sign players and sell them on. It hurts at points, but that's just the way that we work. I think we're trying to go for that Brighton and Brentford standard, where it's bring in players on the cheap, let them go on more. We've attempted that we brought in Lamine Fanny from Sweden, brought in Deikai Hashioka from Belgium, who we've sold to Slavia Prague now, who didn't do that well. But we're trying to bring in the players from these unknown European countries, where it's the same level of standard of football, but players won't be looking at it, and then sell them on for higher transfer values.
Yeah, well, I can understand why they do it. It brings in money and get a lot of clubs that do that. So I think it makes sense. We'll have to see. Hopefully, it gets on very well with you and you have a good season this season. Turning the attention to my club, Tottenham, for a second. Be honest, how do you rate Spurs' chances this season under new manager Thomas Frank? How did you view it? How can they do?
I'm unsure. Like, what do you think your aim for this season?
I'd say probably top 6 and a good run in a cup competition. Try and balance all competitions.
I think your whole aim after how it's so hard to judge off last season because you didn't do as well in the league. But I think this season's got to be under Thomas Frank, who's a proven Premier League manager now. It's just got to be pushed back to a place where Spurs should be, like top 6, top 7. Just get into that European competitions place. And
yeah,
I think that should be the aim.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, personally, I'd take 17th and a trophy over 6th, 7th, and nothing. But I think the aim has got to be for the club's perspective to be able to juggle all the competitions because I love Ange and everything. I think we'd struggle to balance the season, Premier League and Champions League, because you couldn't do Europa League and Premier League. Next question: if you could steal one Spurs player from Luton, who would it be and why? Obviously, we've had Keeley. They actually did plan this before Keeley, but we're forgetting about Keeley a minute. Who else?
If we're going on youth side, we're probably in need of a youth striker on loan. So maybe Jamie Donnelly or Will Lancashire, both proven at Championship and League One level. Some good players. I was going to say Ashley Phillips, but he signed for Stoke 10 minutes before we recorded this. So.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Oh, there you go. I'll have to have a look at that. What about Dane Scarlett? Would you take him or would you still opt for someone like a Donnelly, as you say, a Lancashire?
I quite like Scarlett. I think proven in Championship, so I don't think he can go wrong in League One. He'll definitely be one of the ones that we're probably looking at if we're going to get a loan from the Premier League striker.
Okay. Thank you. If Luton could copy one thing from Tottenham Hotspur, what would it be if you could choose?
Win a trophy would be quite nice.
Difficult question. Yeah, that's a good shout.
I don't know. I quite like your style of play and the way of out from the back football, and it's just interesting. And also the signings from abroad like Vuskovic and
it looks good.
Others will be interesting if we could adapt that approach to signings a bit more.
Yeah, definitely that recruitment side of things. Who would you say is under more pressure this season, Luton or Spurs?
Luton, I think for definite. I think first season under Thomas Frank, I can't see him getting judged that much. Whereas if I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if we even get in the pressure of a point of back-to-back relegations, the club turns fully. I think it's so hard just trying to stay positive on such a negative social media side of things. And even for the club, it's everything's viewed negatively at this point. It's 50% are just trying to stay positive and the rest have just fully turned.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Just how things can change so quickly in football in just a couple of years. It's a stark reminder. We've already spoke briefly about transfers, but I want to go a bit deeper into it. So you talked about new signings, etc. How do you say your window's gone so far, and what areas of the squad would you say that really need improvement? I think you talked about striker.
I'd say the window's gone really well so far. We've got in experience as well as youth. Yesterday we signed Kadua from West Ham on loan with an option to buy. Positive signing. Obviously Keeley being brought in, youngsters in Jake Richards, but then also experience coming in through Saville, Naismith and Naki Wells. I think we've covered all the places that we need. However, some fans are looking at it a bit differently. We've only spent a couple, 2 million around there. And obviously you've got 2 parachute payments coming in. Some fans are expecting the big bucks to be spent, like how Birmingham did last season. But I think it's gone really positively so far. We're linked with Charlie Kelman from QPR at the minute. And I think if we can get him in, then that is a perfect window so far. And maybe just get 1 or 2 more players in, maybe some loans or just a little bit of experience in the backup. And a really good window, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Before we get on to the game itself this weekend, I want to touch on just a couple of questions. Firstly, what's your earliest or maybe favourite memory supporting Luton?
Favourite memory's got to be that playoff final win. Like the idea of just going to Wembley, that train journey down, drinking with just everyone around you, like just having a good time before the match, and then you get in, just like so nerve-wracking, and then obviously straight penalty shootout, and that moment that Dabo put the ball over the bar, probably the best moment of my life, I'm not going to lie. Well, my first away day with Luton was Tamworth away in the conference.
Wow.
So, like, looking back on moments like that from when I was quite young, probably don't remember most of it, but just to think that, like, that was us, like, so many years ago, and now we've gone to, like, the Etihads and the Tottenhams away. It's crazy to think how far we've come.
It's great. It's good to be on that journey. I know, of course, not the way you wanted it to maybe go or the way you wanted it to end, but you can say you've been there and done it and given it a good go. I think that's something to be proud of. Oliver, who's your all-time favourite Luton player and why? You can have more than one.
Telly Radakampanzu's up there. Obviously, we've just let go of him on a contract, but he was here for like 10 years. He was there from the conference to the Premier League. Yeah, one of the best stories in English football. Like, we released like an hour-long talk with him after the match, like after he left his contract, and it's like he wasn't even wanting to sign here. Like the standards were so low when we were in the conference, and to think that he was there for 10 years. There was like so many transfer rumours, like he was linked with Bristol City for a long while, and he just stayed, and it was like he's made it this far with the club. I've also players like Dan Potts and Ollie Lee. I just like they've always just like stuck in my heart as like my favourite players.
Oh, it's nice. It's always good to have those favourite players, and I think Panzer, as you said that, I think that's a incredible story. I think one that can be appreciated by whatever club you support. But on to the game itself. Firstly, how do you view Tottenham as a club? I want you to be totally honest here. You know, how do you view Tottenham and also their supporters? Do you respect them? Do you envy them? Or do you not really care? Just crack on.
I quite like Tottenham fans, to be honest. I think they're one of the big six clubs that are down to earth. No, like disrespect to any others, but they're not very big-headed. Like they know where they're meant to be. It's not like, oh, we're meant to be pushing for winning the league every season. It's just like we're spending the money and we're just and like the supporters. It's just a good atmosphere. I haven't been to the new ground yet, but it's one of the grounds that I really would like to tick off. Just looks different to most others.
Yeah, oh, that's good to hear. Any past memories, good or bad, of playing Spurs that you'd like to share?
Well, that to Heath Chong goal. I did 15 of the games that year, and I only got to like 2 London clubs because the tickets sold out immediately. So 15 away days, and I didn't get to most London clubs. And Tottenham was one of them that I missed. I just remember seeing that to Heath Chong goal on Twitter after I like scrolled down through the comments, and I was like, "Oh my god, we're actually beating Tottenham."
Yeah, that must have felt good while it lasted. That's nice. Always take the lead away from home as well. It's just something special about that. But onto the game itself. What are you hoping to see from Luton in this friendly?
Well, pre-season's just all about like seeing little moments, getting a good runabout. It is our last pre-season friendly, so I would like to see us putting in a challenge, I suppose. Well, obviously European champions we're playing against, so we're not expecting like domination football, but just to see that how we deal with that pressure and whether we can keep up with the standards of what we were 2 years ago. And obviously just looking at the new signings, see if they're up to standard. Quite exciting.
Yeah, good. It's good that you're looking forward to it. Is it a good test, you think, for the squad playing a team like Tottenham? And also, do you hope that we go with a stronger team as well? Because a lot of people, I saw, speaking to Luton fans earlier on social media, like, I would like to see a strong team from Spurs because I want that challenge. I want us to see how we can, kind of deal with that challenge.
We do, yeah, definitely. We want to see a challenge from Tottenham for us, a stronger team. So far, we've played 3 pre-season friendlies, played Southend last night away and Gillingham away on Sunday. So obviously they're good clubs, but not top League One standard clubs. So just to think like how we deal against an opposition with a new manager, new players, world-class players, it'll be interesting to see how we cope.
It will be interesting. What do you make of the fact that we're now playing in Tottenham? I mean, an additional pre-season game on the same day. So we're playing Wycombe Wanderers at 11 a.m. and I think we're playing you at 3 p.m. What do you make of that? Do you think that affects the team selection? You might see two different teams.
I had no idea about that. I saw Birmingham did it the other day because they played Crewe
Yeah.
and Burton, but it could just be like one's a youth team, one's a stronger team, or maybe just a split of both, just so players can get the run about. That is the whole point of pre-season. So as long as the players are getting the experience and the moments that they need before the season starts, and it's a good start.
100%. It was only announced today. Apparently, it was a last-minute decision. You talked about what you want to see in this friendly. Would you say, though, overall, that it's about like pre-season as a whole? Is it like a fitness exercise? Is it a chance to test tactics, an opportunity to make a statement? Maybe you thinking that this game individually is maybe a little bit more than fitness because, as you said, this is your last pre-season game. But what do you reckon pre-season overall? What's the most important? Of course, all those things are important.
It's just all about showing yourself and how ready you are. I think this pre-season with back-to-back relegations on the back of our mind, it's just about building up the positivity around the changing rooms and just like being ready for the season. Because if we played had the same way that we have last pre-season, where we came into the season really negatively, I think it was 4-1 defeat to Burnley at home on the opening day. It just wasn't acceptable, and it looked like we hadn't pre-seasoned at all. So it's just all about changing mindsets and being ready for the new season. And obviously, with this being our last game, we want to see some spark at least from the squad and being ready for Wimbledon for the opening day.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see a good start to the season. If Spurs field what Thomas Frank deems as the strongest 11, our strongest 11, how do you think Luton will cope? Is it a case of staying in the game? Is it a case of trying to get a result?
It's probably just staying in the game, to be honest. As long as we can, I'd imagine it will be two different squads, like a first half and a second half potentially, or maybe like large number of changes. We are missing a lot of centre backs for this game because Joe Johnson went off. We had 3 centre backs go off injured yesterday in our friendly.
Oh no!
Joe Johnson went down with a hamstring injury. Mads Anderson went down with potential concussion, and Ted and Mengi went down after an injury from a Southend tackle. We're also Cal Naismith just returned from an injury. McGuinness has just returned from an illness. New signing, a Dauphin that we got from Rotherham. He's also out injured. So we're missing a lot of centre halves. So just trying to stay in the game will be an interesting one.
That is interesting. I mean, that's not ideal at all, is it? Which Spurs players do you think could cause Luton the most problems, assuming they play?
Probably Son. He's just one of the ones. I like Brennan Johnson, to be honest, and I'd like to see Kudus as well. Obviously, new signing. That run the other day was all over social media. He looks class, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll get on to what you want the Luton team to be, but first, how do you think you will line up? Will it be experimental, or do you think it'll be quite close to that 11 we'll see against Wimbledon?
I think with it being our last pre-season friendly, it will most likely be a really strong squad that we put out. Probably the strongest available squad
Strongest, yeah. Yeah, there's no surprise being how close you are to the start of the season. Very, very close. It always starts at 4th, doesn't it? The EFL season. So it's good for us Premier League fans. There's still football to watch. That's a big relief. It's good to hear. Who do you think's been the standout in pre-season training or in the games that we've seen so far?
Jake Richards, the one that we've signed from Exeter. The young lads look really positive. Zach Nelson's also young from the academy. He's really strong. Made a few appearances in the Premier League and the Championship last season. However, looks like he's stepped up to a different form in pre-season, so we could see him more. And Lassie Nordas, the Norwegian striker, I think he scored 3 or 4 goals so far in pre-season. So if we're going to see anyone on the score sheet tomorrow, hopefully it'll be him tomorrow. The other day.
Yeah, exactly. Is there anyone you do or don't want to see in this game from a Luton point of view?
I think we just want to see everyone. I mean, there's a few dead woods that we haven't seen so far, that have done a lot for the club, but Marvellous Nakamba we haven't seen yet in pre-season. And then there's just a few that we could let go, for big wages, like Tahith Chong hasn't really stepped up since coming into the club. Ted and Mengi's one, but obviously he got injured yesterday. But we've got so many players on Premier League wages now, you'd assume that maybe the club won't be able to cope in League One with these players that aren't fully featuring in positive moments.
Mm-hmm. Well, a strong performance against us at the weekend, against this Tottenham side, give you more confidence and, I suppose, hope going into the new season?
This is our first home game in pre-season so far, so obviously we'll have a crowd there. And with more people there, hopefully if we put in a good performance, it will up the crowd, get us ready for the first game of the season against Wimbledon.
Yeah, okay, interesting. Can I get your score prediction for this game? Do you back Luton?
You've got to back your team every game that you play, so I'll go 3-2 Luton. It'll be goal scoring.
Excellent. 5 goals in the game. I have to say, it's a big score. Let's get into some end of season predictions before we wrap up then, Oliver. Go on, put your neck on the line. Where do you think Luton will finish in the league?
I've got to say, I think we've got to win the league. Posts that have been put out recently, we've got the top 5 most expensive players in the league. And it's if we're not even challenging for that league this season, then it's a downfall. We should have stayed up last season with the squad that we have, but it was just we fell short. Played well at the end of the season, but that start of the season just ruined it for us. And ultimately, with the players that we've brought in and the experiences that they've had, we should be pushing for that league spot.
Okay, thank you. Where do you think Tottenham will finish? You spoke about the aim and how you think Thomas Frank would do, but if you had to say a position, a nailed-on one in the league?
I think Thomas Frank will be aiming just to steady the ship in the league, basically. So I'll go 5th.
5th. I'd absolutely take that. I'd take 5th, 6th. Yeah, that'd be absolutely fine with me. And last but not least, do you think Tottenham will win any trophies? And if not, how far do you think we get in something like the Champions League?
I think maybe you'll get out the group in the Champions League, but I do think a good cup run's going to come. I think that will be the aim after last season's trophy, just to push to even just get to maybe a final or a semi-final in the Carabao or the FA Cup. It'll probably be the aim to get one of those English trophies into the books.
Lovely. I'll be very happy with that. I hope that you're right. Thank you very much, Oliver. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you today, talk to people about where they can find you on social media and what teams like Luton, do.
We're just a Luton fan page. We've ran for about a year, just over a year now. You can find us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram and Facebook. And we post vlogs and just updating news.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you're new to the channel, please do like and subscribe. If you're listening after, please do drop us a follow and a 5-star review. And enjoy the game this weekend. Come on, you Spurs. Thanks for watching.